The all-new 22 Civic, now on sale at Team Honda on Siegen Lane.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hello and welcome as we start another edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping all is well with you and yours in your world. Since the last opportunity we had to spend some time with you roughly 24 hours ago. We start today's show talking about a seriously troubling trend here in the capital city. You know, for many, many years, we as men in the South, and particularly in Louisiana, allegedly, supposedly, prided ourselves on how we treat the women in our lives. It is something that, as far back as I can remember, regardless of what else was taking place in our society, we were able, if nothing else, to point to our reverence for the women in our lives. Understanding COVID-19, the pandemic, economic stress, emotional, mental stress, the rise in illegal drug use, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, one could very easily find a way to excuse this very troubling trend. East Baton Rouge has broken another record, and this one is troubling beyond belief. Here in East Baton Rouge Parish, we have already this year surpassed the number of domestic violence murders with a full 3 months still to go. Conventional wisdom says if we've already broken last year's record number of domestic violence murders, we will by far and away exceed last year's record by the time this year is over. So far this year, East Baton Rouge Parish has seen 25 domestic violence murders. As a matter of fact, if you analyze the statistics, it points to a massive failure in our judicial system. For example, and this came and I will read to you from WBRZ.com, the website of the ABC affiliate here in Baton Rouge. Tuesday, yesterday, Jeremy Robertson was convicted for his 5th time on domestic abuse battery charges, sentenced to 10 years in prison, with 7 of those years suspended. This guy's 32 years old, has been arrested at least 19 times. He has such a high conviction rate for beating women that there isn't even a charge that fits his 5th conviction for doing the same thing. This guy's criminal history, according to WBRZ's analysis, shows that he has had so many arrests that by the time he actually goes to court, he has spent so much time in jail already that he pretty much is let out on the same day. Typically, you are given credit for the time served, the time you've been incarcerated awaiting trial. He has so many convictions that by the time the conviction rolls around, taking into account the time he's been incarcerated, he gets let out pretty much on the same day. He was first convicted of domestic violence in March of 2015. He was convicted twice in 2017 and a 4th time in 2018. Last year, Robertson was accused of trying to kill another woman after prosecutors say he intentionally fired a weapon toward his girlfriend at the time. You know, as a guy who is from the South and a guy who was taught to respect women, this is way beyond troubling, y'all. This is an indictment of us menfolk. Now listen, I understand these are tough times, the mental strain involved with COVID-19, the economy, the whole nine, I get it. But at the end of the day, this says more about us than we should allow it to. Typically, somebody knows about the propensity of these individuals to carry out violence against women. And when it comes down to it, these victims are someone's mother, sister, aunt, grandmother. This is so far past embarrassing, I don't know where to begin. And again, we still have 3 months left to go in the year. Now, I guess you could make the argument that when you look at what our homicide rate in general has become here in Louisiana, I was tempted to say South Louisiana, but it's pretty much all across the state. Conventional wisdom says it only stands to reason that women would end up being victims as well. Y'all forgive me for being old school, but growing up, there were just certain things men didn't do. There were certain things that no matter what your circumstances, no matter what the incident that precipitated it was, there were just certain things you did not do. Sadly, we have now arrived at a point where as much as it pains me to say it, there are things that we've arrived at a point, there are folks, there isn't anything we won't do. And sadly, when we allow our society to devolve to this point, God only knows where we're going. Of course, now, in the same time span, speaking of things that at one point you just did not do, you do realize here in the capital region, in the state of Louisiana, last week, over a period of just 4 days, 3 children were killed by their parents in this state. And if you are one of those individuals that keeps abreast of the news on a regular basis, you see the pictures of these children, darling children, and it makes you wonder what has become of our society. Of course, now, when we have a federal government and when we have a major political party, Democrats, who insist upon the right to kill babies, it's not all that hard to figure out that we are devaluing life to the point where we now find ourselves where we find ourselves. Y'all, we are supposed to be better than this. If you don't yet understand what the liberal mindset is doing to this country, I ask you to consider this. What does it say to you that here in our state, we set new records for men killing women, we set new records for parents killing babies, and we're setting new records for juveniles killing people and juveniles being killed in our state. At one point in our country's history, things like this didn't happen. So I simply ask you, what's changed? I'll let you ponder that. First break of today's show. We'll get her done, come back and talk more with you, right where you've got it, on today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back.
Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Go where summer leads you in an award-winning Mazda CUV. Find yours during Mazda's season of discovery.
Call, click, or come by and discover your new Mazda today at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent.
Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances. Your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Oh, we're back? Oh, I'm sorry. Marty, you didn't tell me. If y'all know anything about me, you know I'm a huge NASCAR fan. You know I love, old Clarence loves some stock car racing. And y'all just read between the lines on that rejoin. Wink, wink. You know, on any given day, we encounter individuals that we know, as a dear departed friend of mine was fond of saying, the vicissitudes of life weigh heavily on folks. If you are fortunate enough to live long enough, sadly, there is a distinct possibility that you will witness the mental decline of an older member in your family. As a matter of fact, we have, in recent memory, witnessed an ever decreasing number in the age category of Americans suffering from dementia. If you are not a person that stays abreast of the news, particularly international news, you may not be aware of the situation in Ethiopia. They are teetering on an all-out civil war that has the potential to be genocidal in nature. So as a result, recently, President Joe Biden, as he is so very fond of doing, issued an executive order authorizing the United States government to levy sanctions against Ethiopia if the warring factions don't cease hostilities and negotiate in good faith. You may not even know that this was going on. Well, this week, when Joe Biden made an appearance to try and sell this $3.5 trillion infrastructure package, at the end of his address, reporters started shouting questions at the president. And one reporter asked specifically about the situation in Ethiopia. Now, you've already heard Joe Biden, when a reporter at the end of an address asks a question. You've heard Joe Biden tell the media, well, I'm not supposed to answer questions because, quote, I'll get in trouble. You've heard that. I guess the White House now has figured, okay, we've ridden this horse about as far as we can go. The American public is sick and tired of hearing the leader of the freaking free world tell the press, I'm not supposed to answer questions because, quote, I'll get in trouble. So they've now come up with a new angle. This week, when the reporter asked Joe Biden a question about the situation in Ethiopia and the executive order that he signed to deal with it, his response was the following, quote, I'm going to answer one question. I'm not going to answer Ethiopia. Let's stick to the debt so we don't confuse the American people. So now, apparently, y'all are even more stupid than you were before. Joe Biden does not want to answer questions about an international incident, an incident that he has signed an executive order to deal with. He doesn't want to answer questions from the media because you might be confused. Now, for the record, Joe, of all the people in the conversation, ain't but one of them confused, and that's you. The American people know full well what's going on in this country and around the world. And for this guy to say, well, I'm not going to answer questions because y'all might get confused. But you know, after I thought about it, technically he could be correct in that most times when you open your mouth, we're left confused. What did he just say? What the hell is he talking about? So I guess in hindsight, maybe you're right. We probably would end up confused. Y'all, do you realize in a span of 9 months, we have become the laughing stock of the world? Here's a guy, the leader of the free world, that cannot answer questions on domestic policy and or foreign policy because either he will, quote, get in trouble or y'all might be confused. You know, I'd like to know, President Biden, when you tell us I'm not supposed to take questions because I might get in trouble, get in trouble from whom? Have you ever thought about this? You might get in trouble. Dude, you're the leader of the free world. Who is this that you are so worried about getting in trouble from? I mean, it's pretty clear when you say, well, the American people might get confused. That's pretty clear. You're talking about us, the dummies apparently that we are, because you can't answer the question for us because we might end up confused. That's pretty straightforward. You're talking about the American people. But when you tell us, well, I'm not supposed to answer questions because I might get in trouble. Who are these individuals that are going to give you grief and have you in trouble because you answer to the freaking people that you serve and the people that elected you? At the end of the day, y'all, if you're a Democrat and you don't think there's anything wrong with the leader of the free world not answering questions about whatever, I only ask you to consider this. Politics in America is akin to a pendulum. It swings to the left and it swings back to the right. When that energy is expended, it swings back in the opposite direction. And sure enough, if you've ever watched a pendulum, it swings back again. If you're a Democrat and you think it's okay for the leader of the free world to not answer basic questions about policies that affect not just the nation, but the whole darn planet, you better remember that pendulum is not going to stay swung to the left. At some point, that puppy's going to swing back. And then, guess what? It's going to be your turn. That is not, y'all, how America is supposed to work. Just saying. Bottom of the hour break. If this weren't bad enough, I want to talk about you and your money and what the Biden administration wants the IRS to be able to do. That's next when we continue today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
hot spiders?
Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bud Show. You know, there's an old adage that says the more things change, the more they stay the same. You've probably heard that at some point in your life. And for years now, but particularly in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, pandemic, yeah, that's the ticket. You've heard those of us on the conservative side of the aisle attempt to tell you that this is all about control. Liberals, Democrats, / progressives, we've told you over and over and over again, want to control every single aspect of your life. Literally from the womb to the tomb. If the Democrats let you make it out of the womb, they want to control every aspect of your life until you're in the tomb. They want to control what you can eat, what you can drink, what you can drive, where you can live, what kind of light bulbs you can use, what kind of car you can drive, you name it. They want to control every freaking aspect of your life. And this current administration, the Biden-Harris administration, makes no bones about the fact that they have bought into this philosophy. I guess, when you think about it, you couldn't be a Democrat if you didn't buy into the philosophy. They wouldn't support you, they'd run you off. So it's been announced here recently that the Biden-Harris administration is going all in on weaponizing the IRS. Arguably the most hated institution in all of government. Have you heard about this? The Biden administration is seeking to weaponize the IRS to the point where they will scrutinize every single American's bank account. And any transaction over $600 will be reported. Can somebody, anybody, one freaking person, please tell me how insert your favorite phrase deleted here, is it the freaking government's business if I decide I want to buy a new couch and it costs more than $600? How in God's name is it the freaking government's right, responsibility to know if I decide my riding lawnmower is shot and there's one on sale at Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever, and it's $605, they have the right to know about this. What the hell is going on in these people's minds? Really? It's not enough that they tax the bejesus out of us. It's not enough that when you go to the grocery store now, inflation is running rampant. It's not enough when you pull up at a gas station that the price of gas has crippled Americans, not to mention our economy. But now, any expenditure over $600, we need to know about it. Now, there will be some of you Democrat / liberal / progressive nut jobs that will use the tried, tested line, well, if you're not doing anything illegal, what do you have to worry about? For those of you dullards that buy into that reasoning, consider this. It is the government that has made it pretty much impossible for millions of our fellow Americans to exist on a day-to-day basis. It is the government, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, AOC, who in restarting this economy have put Americans in a situation where millions of us are having to survive day to day. I know you've been to the grocery store lately and you pick up that package of ground beef, you pick up the canned goods and you go, whoa, wait a minute. When the heck did this happen? I know you've been to the gas station recently and normally you put in whatever you put in, $20, $30, and you know your needle is going to move a certain amount. And now, all of a sudden, with the advent of the Biden-Harris administration, your needle doesn't move anywhere near as far as it used to. And if that weren't enough, when you die, the government wants 60% of what you planned to leave to your loved ones. And as if all that wasn't bad enough, now Joe Biden wants the IRS to be able to monitor your bank account for anything that you spend over $600. You know, it's like you went to bed one night, woke up the next morning, and you're no longer in the United States of America, you're in freaking Beijing. You're in Pyongyang. You're in Iran. Now, let me say this for the record, y'all. We already know what Democrats / liberals / progressives are all about. They've played their hand. Every single day, it's right there for all the country and the world to see. These people are who they are, and they do what they do. But a time is coming, y'all. A time is coming where Americans are going to show their displeasure. And you've heard me say this God knows how many times. You want to see what America is capable of? Back us in a corner. Keep on pushing, illegal, immoral, unconstitutional, just keep on pushing. and an American with their back in a corner, you know the rest. If you don't, let them keep pushing. How in God's name, in the freaking United States of America, do you even propose something like this? If you spend over $600, we need to know about it. Excuse me? Who the hell are you to look at Americans spending their bank accounts and analyze anything over $600? First of all, where the hell did this $600 figure come from? Of course, now, a very dear friend of mine said, I don't know if they'll ever tell you, but this dear friend of mine said the baseline model of an AR-15 starts around, wait for it, $600. When we arrive at a point in the United States of America, y'all, where the federal government weaponizes the IRS to look at your bank account and know if you spend over $600 at one time, we're getting closer, y'all. We are getting closer. Now, you're going to sit there and scratch your head. Closer to what, Clarence? You'll figure it out. If you don't figure it out, it's going to be on full display for all the world to see. Mark my words, because you will not be able to say, Clarence, you saw this coming. I trust you, and you didn't say a word. Not your old buddy Clarence. I'm going to be the first one to beat that drum, and I will let you know in no uncertain terms. Just saying. Final break of today's show. We'll get her done, come back, put that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and wrap up today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready. And health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back for the final segment of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. We tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday here at Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. As a matter of fact, you never know who you're going to see when you come to Old School Barbecue. Just yesterday, and we do it every week, we also tape the Roger Cador show. Everybody's buddy, everybody's favorite guy. We tape that show here live. Kevin Gallagher, my dear friend, just walked in. He and Uncle Roy, everybody's favorite crazy uncle, tape his podcast. And he knows I say that affectionately. Uncle Roy is everybody's favorite crazy uncle. That podcast is taped here on Wednesday. So, aside from getting some great food, aside from meeting some really, really wonderful folks on staff, come on out. Satisfied that barbecue taste buds, and you never know, like I say, who you might walk into when you walk through the door at 10655 Coursey Boulevard at Old School Barbecue. You know, if there is any, quote, silver lining to the whole COVID-19 pandemic, it has been the awareness of everyday Americans, particularly as it pertains to what's being taught to our children in schools all across the length and breadth of this grand republic of ours. Many of us, and many of you watching right now, I would venture a guess, haven't set foot on a public school campus since you graduated, whatever year that was. Be 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago. You, to your credit, got busy in your professional life. You got busy pursuing your version of the American dream. And you just kind of assumed that all is well in public education. I mean, after all, it served us well. You know, we pretty much, the overwhelming majority of us, went to public schools. We learned to read, to write, and if I could use a Jethro Bodine analogy, to cipher. We gleaned life lessons from public schools. If you're like me, a baby boomer, you went through the trials and tribulations of integration, and it still befuddles many of us how you could go to a school then, pull up in the parking lot, and you couldn't count the number of firearms that were in the windows of pickup trucks in the student parking lot. Well, as a matter of fact, for many of us, it was the same in the teachers' parking lot. There were shotguns, there were 30-30s, there were 30-06s, right there in the gun rack in the window. And never once did anybody, with all the fights, all the disturbances, never once did anyone consider going to the truck and retrieving a weapon, going to a truck and stealing a weapon, and then going back on school grounds and unleashing carnage. You can also look at any number of societal trends that are so troubling today. And you have to ask yourself, if you are, an individual with half a functioning brain cell, you have to ask yourself, what's different now. Some of y'all not going to get that till later, but that's okay as long as you get it. But you do realize we have arrived at a point now where more than any time, certainly in my lifetime, maybe in the history of this nation, where the government goes out of its way to demonize its citizenry. Just recently, the National School Board Association requested, and the DOJ says, oh yeah, we'll support you on this. Parents that have become alarmed over the garbage that is being taught our kids in public schools are now labeled as domestic terrorists. And the FBI needs to watch these folks. We've now had our federal government tell Marty and Kevin Gallagher, y'all white supremacists, and we need to keep an eye on y'all, especially Marty. We've now had a federal government to allow folks to walk into this country unvetted, unchecked, untested, and then in the dead of night ship these people into communities all across America. Don't tell mayors, don't tell governors, don't tell councils, just send them in. And to add insult to injury, they will tell you, well, this has nothing to do with the spread of COVID. How the hell would you know? You didn't test them. How would you know? But you, because you refuse to take the shot, now you're the enemy. You know, I would never, ever, because my love for this country is so great. Growing up in a military household, love of God and country is foremost and will forever be for me. We're all products of our life experiences. That's who I am. I make no bones about it. I'm not embarrassed about it, and I'll be darned if I ever apologize for it. If you're waiting on an apology from me about that, you SOL, Hoss. Straight up. You SOL. Y'all will figure that out later if you haven't already. But at the end of the day, y'all, if you are not deeply troubled by what is going on with the government in this country, you're either asleep or you're an idiot. Pure and simple. Pure and simple. And the fact of the matter is, as a black man, I have so much invested in this country. I'll be darned if I'm going to sit idly by and watch it all go down the tubes. Y'all realize what black folk had to go through in this country to arrive at the point where we are now? There was a time in this country's history I couldn't vote, I couldn't own property, I couldn't marry who I want, couldn't live where I want, couldn't run for office. I now am an equal. And with all that people that look like me had to go through to become equal, to sit idly by and watch you throw it down the toilet, that ain't happening, Hoss. Not today, not on this end. No, sir. No, sir. So when I hear you lunar being idiots, let me be careful before I say something I shouldn't say. When I see you idiots running around talking about America's systemically racist, you're a freaking idiot. You're a moron. We elected a black man the leader of the free freaking world, not once, but twice. We have black governors, mayors, chiefs of police, council members, attorneys, doctors, physicians, you name it. We have it. So when you sit there with your stupidity, Mr. and Mrs. Liberal, progressive, and try to demonize my country by telling lies and a bunch of crap, I'm not going to sit idly by and not call you on it. It's not going to happen, y'all. And the fact of the matter is, all you have to do is take your happy behind and go live in North Korea for 6 weeks. Go live in Iran for 6 weeks. Go live in Beijing, China for 6 weeks. Go live in Russia for 6 weeks. Better yet, go there for 6 days. And old Lady Liberty will start looking real good real soon. But see, most of y'all, you've had it so easy, you never had to work for anything. So all it takes is one Democrat / liberal / progressive to tell you something stupid, and you take it and run with it. For those of us who've had to earn things, we're not letting them go just like talking about it. Just so you know. I don't ever want you to be able to say, well, had I known. When you tune into this show, you will know. Whether you accept it or not, that's on you. But you will never be able to say, Clarence knew and didn't tell me. That ain't gonna happen. Pure and simple. Now that being said, it is that time of the day. Again, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Old School Barbecue. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we tape the show live. I'd love to see you spend a little time, as the staff would as well. So, as Marty is starting to sweat over there because he thinks I'm not going to make it, my time's up, y'all, and I got to go. But this day, probably more so than any other day in history, I give it to you. You're right. America, we're not perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's the best there is. And God knows there is no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you do realize by now that he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Either way, there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. Take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you soon. Let's go, Brandon. Thank you, Marty.